Happy New Year to everyone out there. I hope everyone else is having a good 2025, a good start to the new year. I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but I wanted to take some time to really start talking about what the future could hold. And before I get into anything, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description, whatever you want to listen to, and whatever you want to scroll to as far as ideas of what they can do to improve this game. It's 2025 now. It's time for new games. It's time for the future. And we got a couple people playing the game right now, and this is a live premiere. It's pre-recorded, so the timestamps will be available. The live chat will also be available on replay. Hopefully it will be, and be able to be displayed so you guys can see what everybody else is saying for this live premiere. It's all about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3, and the first thing I want to say is that I do not think this game is going to come out this year. I think Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 is, if we get it, if we get the game, it's probably going to be something that we get the next year. We'll probably end up seeing a 2025 announcement later on in the year at some point, if not over the summer, potentially. But I don't think Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 is going to be the next game that we could see come out. It's a little too early for it, and being open and honest, I don't realistically see Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 coming out immediately for this year. I'll be surprised if it does. I wouldn't be upset if it happens. But I want to talk about everything I want to see happen to the game, the new changes that the developers can make, and where it's not about just playing the game competitively, it's thinking about the community as a whole, where all players alike, whether you're a casual player and you just want to play online and have fun, you're looking to climb the ranks, like as you can see on the rank play, and try to max out your character, master the characters that you like to play and some of the fighters that you like to play as, and try to learn new characters and this, that, and the other, and learn counters, and learn from your losses and get better at the game and things like that, and take it to the next level. I would like this game to be the game where they no longer have to start over, because that's something that I want to just say and just express that I'm sick of. I'm tired of them just starting over with these titles, because every time they come out with a new Nickelodeon crossover game or a new game that comes out, it gets a little bit of promotion. It's what they say, it's hip, it's now, and then they stop talking about it. It just fizzles out, and then they stop talking about it. They don't promote it. They just don't advertise it. There's no marketing. There's very little communication, and everyone's in the dark about what's next. And that's something that I would like to be one of the most important things outside of just the characters that you can see with the roster getting changes. We're going to change some things like that. We're going to talk about all that today throughout this video, and I'm just going to try not to make it too as long, but it might be a giant video. I'm not sure how long, but those are just some things that I wanted to just mention right off the bat. I don't think the game is going to get released this year. It'll probably potentially get announced, and maybe we'll probably just, by some miracle, we might end up seeing more content come out for this game, and maybe they'll announce something by surprise. Maybe there's other characters in the works. I don't think there is, because it's almost safe to say that there's not going to be any more new content as far as new characters getting added into the game, considering that previous patch that was shadow dropped. So is Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 launching this year? I just don't think so. I just think it's going to be a chance for a different crossover, or maybe just some kind of potential announcement. Iroh, I think, was our last fighter. Unfortunately, I just did not want to see this character in this game, because I think we deserve to get other fighters that were in, that deserve to get a spotlight, that deserve to get some kind of representation, and they've been in this forgotten world, of which I'll say obscure characters, and there's so many characters that I want to see. I grew up watching these shows from the 90s, from Cartoon Network, and so many other characters from these different shows and things like that from the early 90s. So it's awesome to see some of these characters be able to get in. I was happy to see Mr. Krabs, but we're going to start talking about this. This is about the new year, and it's a big question. What's going to happen? What's in the cards? We don't know what's in the cards. We don't know what's next. We don't know what their plans are. What direction are they going to go? Is a new team going to pick this game up? Is a new team going to develop something? Is a new team going to come out with a different title or an all new crossover? I would love to see a Nicktoons Unite because I never played the games before and I always wanted to play them. And if we don't get a new one this year, I would definitely love to do of blind playthroughs of those games from Battle for Volcano Island, Attack of the Toy Bots, etc., and all the other ones. Now, Globs of Doom, and I forgot the other one. I would love to see those games. Maybe they'll go that direction, but it might be by a different team. We're already getting a new SpongeBob game set for this year, confirmed by THQ, but that has nothing to do with Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. So we might have something else in the works from a different team or a publisher. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to start getting into this. The new year has started. 2025 is here. The possibilities are endless. And what I love about the new year, it's always exciting to see what the year has in store when it comes to these type of games, because we got a new Avatar game recently, Quest for Balance, if y'all played it. Which I enjoyed. It was decent, but I was expecting a little bit more from it for Avatar Quest for Balance, which was pretty good, that I enjoyed. We got games like that end up coming out. DreamWorks and then Looney Tunes, Wacky World of Sports, Miraculous, and so much other games that came out. So there's no telling what direction they could end up coming out with. They could make an LT Gray game. I would like to see something like that. Then we got the Patrick Star game that was awesome. He got his own video game. What's stopping them from making these other kind of games and these different titles with these other characters? TMNT, we got to see Mutants Unleashed. It goes on and on. But it's just a big question mark. So I want to see more. I want to see better from these guys. I want to see more characters and more content. That's what I was expecting to see from this game. I'm not sure what we're going to get. This is probably where the train stops. The train is stopping, is at a stopping point. It has grinded to a halt, and we don't have anything new to really discuss as far as this game, because we're not getting anything new and we haven't gotten any information. So the one thing I want to do before I start listing the other additional changes and things I want to start talking about in general from this game, let's do a full recap of what we got for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 and start from the bottom and do a recap. What did we get from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 in 2024? So here on the news tab, you can see all the different characters. We got the DLC. We got stage variations and things like that. New items, which I liked. We had our first DLC, things like that. And then just before we get into anything further, the recent patch that was shadow dropped a while after Iroh's release. Let's go back up here real quick. The recent patch that we got, by surprise, all characters in the roster were changed with nerfs and the necessary buffs that they needed, thanks to the pros out there that's still grinding this game, and the tournaments are still going on. But outside of that, there's no content. There's nothing. There's no content. There's no characters. And most of y'all, if you're like me, you're looking for new characters. You're looking for new content. You're looking for some of these modes to get expanded, like Boss Rush and things like that. Too many games. You know what I mean? We need more. We deserve more. So let's continue on with the recap. We got Mr. Krabs, who was awesome to see. He was so important because he came out of the background. And the one thing that really bugs me is that when this game first came out, I was so excited about it. There were talks of more content and more plans for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 after the conclusion of the season pass. Support beyond the season pass did not happen. So we didn't get any more additional content and plans. We got that patch and that was it. So I don't know what else are they going to be up to. What are they going to work on next? Are they going to have another game coming out? Are they going to surprise us with a new patch or a new season 2 set of characters? I'm not sure what's going to happen. But let's just start continuing this recap. We got Mr. Krabs. He's the most important character that we got. And I think he was the most important update throughout, I'm saying, throughout the full year outside of the balance patches and things like that and fixing the bugs and stuff like that. It still has some issues that need to be addressed when it comes to the AI because the CPU is just garbage. I hate to say it. The CPU are just is way worse. It's so much different from the first game because they're aggressive and they're fast and they'll stay on you. Things like that. It's not easy in the first game, but in the AI and the CPU in this game, when you face them in a regular battle, in a battle mode, and you're practicing and stuff like that in a training dojo or a training mode, it feels easier. They don't feel like a challenge. So that feels like something that needs to be addressed. I don't even know if they're going to be able to get to that at some point. But in my honest opinion, outside of that patch that we got from recently before 2024 closed out, Mr. Krabs was my favorite and the most important update because he was a background character in this game. And I think he made a big difference because I think it created more hype for, even for me. I was hopeful that we could see characters that were cut from the first game, like Lincoln Loud, for example, that stuck in that first stage from the Loud House, speaking of new stages. I was hoping that we were going to be able to see some of those characters return and see how, let's put this up on the screen real quick, see how Odie is a background character. Characters like him could become playable in the next game if we get one, if it happens. That's how important Mr. Krabs was because he was a background character in the Bun Wrestling ring stage and he became a DLC character, and they even came out with a public post saying that characters that's in the background are not going to be disqualified of becoming playable characters in the future for DLC. That's why I think Mr. Krabs is the best and most important character and the most important update that we got for this game that really allowed people to get excited about the future characters that we could have seen, the characters that we could have gotten, but we didn't. We got new items, and I like how they updated the new game modes. I want to see more modes added as well. I hope this also returns. Rotation mode was fun, but it had its problems because it was sometimes wouldn't rotate you in until later on, but they did eventually address it and fix it. We got Zuko. We got campaign. The campaign updates was one of my favorites also, because I love playing the story, going back and forth, getting the characters and stuff like that for my series. Power-ups for us to check out, new perks that had different unique abilities to allow you to have a better chance to a fighting chance to survive if just in case you have some trouble trying to survive in the roguelike campaign, which I like that they designed and implemented in a really good way. I really enjoyed it. Got the new modes. Zuko came out, and here we go. Zuko behind the paywall again. He should have been base roster. The focus on the Fire Nation really bugged me. We got New Game Plus that I like. We got new stages. These are the stage variations that I already talked about. Brawl with your friends and the new layouts. Those are the new stage variations. But the difference is they were only separated from being a flat surface for competitive fighters out there, players. Single platforms, double platforms, and then it was 3 platforms for those variations. New Game Plus was great. I also enjoyed this because it had its own exclusive content. I covered every little bit of what the New Game Plus has to offer with all the perks as well. It's extra difficult with the extra difficulty, and then the random rule modifiers. I liked all those different ones. They had that Nickelodeon fountain. I showcased all that. I love the new modes and the stages and things like that. I wanted to see more stages get involved. This was the best variation. I like this for Treadmills and Joyride. But I wanted to see all new stages outside of the stage variations. Gauntlet mode came out. So it's like the All-Star mode for Super Smash Bros. If you guys remember that. So you try to get one stock and you get a limited amount of healing items and things like that. We remember you can use the heart containers for Zelda, things like that. That was added into the game. And then as time went on, we had the new stages. We got 2 new stages. Only 2 new stages. Cut Street from SpongeBob And then we got the Timeless Star Dial that pays homage and tribute to the campaign itself, which is the campaign hub where you be able to switch your characters, buy perks, things like that, upgrade your character and stuff like that. Train and talk to Geary, Nora, Master Splinter, and many other characters and that you could be able to talk to and purchase and decorate the hub yourself. But this was unfortunate. Only 2 new stages. I wanted to see more. This is where the train stopped. It stopped right there. Then the campaign got more power-ups and upgrades and new updates, and they had to fix that New Game Plus because it was triggering crashes. I found a way to fix it because you had to completely start over and make a whole new file to fix it. That was the secret workaround prior to the patch. So I had discovered that. But I already finished the New Game Plus campaign, covered all the updates. And then, just to close out, see, we already had Rocksteady. That's our DLC. Mr. Krabs, Zuko, Rocksteady, and then a final cup of tea, that final sip of that tea with Iroh. So we about to bring up the roster right now. That was the whole recap, and this is all we have. And we got the stage variations, things like that. These are great stages. I wanted to see more. This game deserves more. It should have had more. So now, that's the recap of everything that we got all the way through for as far as all the new updates to bring y'all up to speed. Now, just to talk about the tournaments and the competitive scene out there. Tournaments are still taking place where you can compete, things like that. Tournaments are still taking place with competitive players. It's cool and all, but I'm one of the many who wanted to see so much more characters join this game because it deserves so much more content. We didn't have to stop here with this guy. We could have got so much more between these 4 characters, and these characters that you see right here from the DLC for the season pass, they are not from a new show. They are already represented shows. SpongeBob, Avatar: The Last Airbender, 2 Fire Nation reps, by the way, and he should have been base roster. And then a TMNT character. We don't even have Leonardo and Mikey. So Rocksteady got in a solo, no Bebop. Bebop and Rocksteady could have been a duo. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna start talking about now. With this DLC and the season pass, just initially, I was just disappointed just seeing this. And when the leaks came out, I was so excited to see Mr. Krabs. So just again, I think he's the best character and he's the most important one. Nothing against Zuko. He should have already been in the game. He shouldn't be a DLC character. He should have been base roster, up here chilling with Aang, Korra, and Zulu, you know what I mean? My disappointment with this DLC, outside of the characters of Mr. Krabs and Zuko. Zuko should have been base roster instead of DLC. I love the costumes. The blue spirit lit. His Zuko with his ponytail is dope. It's just all these costumes that they added. They did a good job. I love all 4 of their movesets. The creativity behind the characters, nothing against them. We need new shows. That's what was needed. And I was hoping we would have got more at this point in this new year. And I just wasn't a fan of the season pass. My first reactions or reveal thoughts, what I was hoping to see, I thought Timmy Turner was going to be one of these characters. And even if he wasn't, I thought he was going to get in later on. And I'm thinking to myself, all 4 of these character slots have to be new characters. They have to be from new shows. That's what I was thinking. I can't be the only one, right? Anyone else thought that all 4 of the slots for the season pass, when the season pass reveal came out, prior to the leaks, of course, before we found out who was in it? Anybody else thought it was 4 new shows that was going to be represented? All the excitement was there. It's like, what if it's Timmy? What if it's Bessie? What if it's Caxwell, Big Nate, and all these different other characters that I would love to see? And Kablam, because I love that show. And Rocket Power, because I think that's underrated. I wanted to see those characters make it into this pass, but we didn't get none of those characters. Those were my initial thoughts, thinking that we would finally be able to see Timmy Turner finally be able to get in as one of the hidden characters. Oh, by the way, you guys thought we weren't going to get him. He's finally here. This is what can happen for the 3rd game. when it comes out, when it's ready, of course. And if it has to be delayed, I'm not going to be upset about that either. Let's start talking about the changes. We're going to talk about all this now, because this roster is so. We got 2 new shows. It's El Tigre, The Adventures of Manny Rivera, and then the Angry Beavers, Daggett and Arbor. Those are the only 2 new shows that we got. We got newcomers like Jimmy Neutron, Raphael and Donatello, Squidward and Plankton. Plankton played exactly the way I wanted him to play. In the mech, with carrying his moveset, things like that. Squidward was great to see. And then I love Ember. She's being one of my favorites. And yeah, Arnold could have been in the game. He could be in the next game. Grandma Grady is great. Sure, she's not ideal, but she's a good fighter. And the moveset that they created with these characters, they did a phenomenal job with every single character in this game, even though I'm not too happy with the DLC choices. Every character in this game is fun to play. So no shots against them. But let's start talking about the changes. What's going to be the changes and where we can expand outside of the Fire Nation? Let's get out of this. Let's get out of the Fire Nation. Just it's oversaturated with some of the same characters from the same shows, just getting all the support and the spotlight. You know, Jimmy Neutron being solo, and then Lucy being solo by herself, which is crazy. New changes that I want. This is gonna take the rest of the video for the premiere. All new changes. We're gonna run through these today. New ways to unlock these characters. Characters were available from the jump. As soon as you start playing this game, you could go right into the battle mode, just which I clicked on, and then you can also go into the training dojo. The characters, well, that's something I didn't like. Go to the dojo, pick a stage. The stages can be locked too. Unlock the stages too. Some of them, not all of them, but see, you could. It'll just spoil the roster for you. You already have just be able to play as the characters right off the bat. As soon as you boot up the game, the characters need to be unlocked, so the players can be able to earn these characters and be able to unlock these special stages and things like that, like the Loud Castle. I want new ways to be able to unlock the characters, so the player can be able to earn these characters right off the bat and be able to play as them and unlock them with different unlock conditions. Multiple ways to unlock the fighters instead of just being one way. It'll be limited to one way of unlocking them. You can play them for a new campaign. They can do it like that. Different challenges, or playing as a certain character a few times. You know what I mean? Just different unique challenges and different unlock conditions. Of course, not online unlockables for the characters, but just new ways to unlock the characters. We need new items. Something I didn't like is how when you set which items will spawn and how often. See what the description says. You cannot individually set the items that will spawn on the map. You only can give it a yes or a no just from that button prompt. You just give a prompt answer. That's it. You cannot select the individual items you want to spawn. That needs to be changed with new items from other shows that I would like to see. I would love to see Purple Flirt, for example. This game doesn't have enough healing items, I don't think. They can make some changes like that and just some funny, goofy items from other shows that'll be nice to see. Now, and we already talked about new game modes. I like how they added those from the recap. I would like to see those, of course. But the one thing I want to just bring about, what do you guys think about assist characters? I don't think they should be of importance, but it'll be a nice, cool feature, something new that could be represented, because it didn't happen for the first game, and it did not happen for the second game, and I don't think it will. Assist characters would be cool to see, but I would rather see those assist characters become playable, because the more, the better, so that way the roster is bigger and better, and it expands beyond the shows that we have been limited to, which aren't new. So some ideas for assist characters, for example, Ace Sabby, for example, who could link his favorite hero from the Loud House. I named a couple assist characters. Ace Savvy, who can just fly into opponents with knock back and striker cool foes before he leaves, they'll come out for a few seconds. I'm not calling them assist trophies. They could be classified under a different name because that's stealing their name for Super Smash Bros. You know what I mean? They can do something different and give them a different name. Assist characters or something like that. Assist Nicktoons. I don't know if that sounds just too much or not. The Dirty Bubble, for example, can trap you inside and carry you off into the blast zone. I think he'll be a great assist character. The Bots Ghost for Danny Phantom that could be full of a mist, full of hidden surprises. Mondo Gecko from TMNT. I would love to see that. Because he was in the background in the Sewer Slam stage from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Why not have Mondo Gecko come out as a assist character for something new, to do some fancy tricks, show you some moves on the skateboard, and he'll chase down opponents. And then, last but not least, these are just a couple characters from the Avatar. As a duo assist, how about Katara and Sokka as a duo assist? Sokka's boomerang to watch out for when he's throwing it at you. Sokka's boomerang is one of the items in this game actually, but it can be more. Sokka's boomerang to avoid, and then Katara with her water bending skills, and she could be able to potentially freeze you in place. See how they did with Aang? We gave him some a little bit of ice, things like that. She can have that kind of ability and more, and try to stop you and slow you down, and then whoever brings her out and gets lucky enough, they'll be able to do some additional damage to you. So those are just 5 different characters, or just a couple characters that I mentioned for assist characters that could probably be able to get into the game. The one thing I want to mention is the next change. I'm not going to jump into the campaign. The campaign had unique interactions, but only the characters from the same show would talk to each other. I want to see special interactions where SpongeBob will be able to remember and acknowledge his new friends Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, and Timmy Turner, and more from Nicktoons Unite. Because he got to know them. Those are some of his new friends. Those are some of the new people the new characters that he got to come across in Nicktoons Unite. All different heroes and new faces. I don't know if that's going to be possible, because it's probably going to be the same thing where the same characters only show characters like Patrick and SpongeBob and Patrick and Plankton, Sandy, who also needs to come back and make a return, of course. Sandy will be able to talk to Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff and all the other characters like that. Only characters from the same show or the same world were allowed to have interactions with each other and talk to each other. But other than that, they would just say 2 lines in this game. Only characters from the same world will react to each other. I just didn't like how this game will only have 2 different lines that will randomly be said if you run into, like Garfield runs into Squidward. Because he'll say, is it already time for you to ruin my day? He'll say that over and over and over, and then that one other line to Garfield. But I would love to see him have unique interactions and special interactions with each other, and at least have that acknowledgement with SpongeBob being able to recognize as a little bit of a nod to Nicktoons Unite. You know? That'll be awesome, don't y'all think? A little bit of a nod and a tribute to pay homage to Nicktoons Unite. SpongeBob remembering Jimmy Neutron, because he was the one who reached out to him for help, because their worlds were in trouble. Special interactions will be awesome to see in this game. We gotta get all this stuff. It'll be awesome to see. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. But this is something that I want to be able to talk about now. Let's start talking about community engagement, marketing, and advertising. This was something that was bothering me the most about this game, and I just don't think it was handled very well. We got a Discord out there, and I'm not making this up. I feel like people deserved more communication. The fans out there deserve more communication. Why does it seem like this is further across the screen? I don't know if it's just me. I don't know, that looked weird for some reason from the news tab. But community engagement for some of these characters. And we need to find out more about these characters. I'm going to put it on Zuko, for example, just to get this started. I feel like communication with the community is a must for any sort of game. It's not about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl just for this game. Communication helps a game or a product grows, and being able to engage with the community to keep us in the light of what's going on. Communication with the community is a must for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 if it happens, because it needs to happen And it's important not only for the grinders out there for competitive, but also for the public for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 to allow players to stay up to date with the news. Not just competitive. If you are in the grinder server, that's okay too. But we all deserve communication to really be able to find out what's going on and understand if there's going to be delays, if there's going to be performance issues and things that needs to be worked on a little bit more. Communication for the general public, for the grinders and the casual players out there that want to play this game and continue to support these titles. We need to have stay up to date with the news, for new updates with these characters. Let's stop ghosting, because they disappeared every time a new character would drop. They would disappear all over again for a little while, and then they'll come back when a new character is ready to come out. They'll say something and make a post, and then they'll disappear all over again, come out with the character, and then they'll disappear all over again. That was something I did not like. This is something that I think would majorly benefit the game, because it'll keep people around so people can stay in the know and in the light. But when you leave people in the dark for too long, they're not going to keep on waiting and waiting and waiting. They're going to move on and go play a different game. That's what happens, and it continues to be an issue when it comes to these titles. So I would love to see them active in the Discord or more active on social media like they used to be from the first game. I know it was a different team involved. It just felt so different this time around. It's important to have communication so people can be able to know what's going on with your game, because without the communication, we're just going to be lost and just playing without anything to go about. We don't have anything to be excited about. That's what I'm talking about. We don't have anything to be excited about because we're just standing here waiting, just hoping to see something, and we're waiting for something. You got all those people on that Twitter page from that main Discord, not that main Discord, the main Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 Twitter page. I want to just drop on this video. The main All-Star Brawl 2 page hasn't tweeted that much when it comes to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. The main Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl Twitter page has had significantly less Twitter posts and communication when it comes to this new game. That's not good. That's not a good sign. So that needs to get changed. They need to be more vocal with the competitive grinders out there and the general public, so we'll be able to stay in the light with some of these characters, because we don't know what's going on. How many times are you just going to keep on waiting? How long are you going to wait? How long are you willing to wait for that next update? Because a lot of people moved on. So it's the people that's been dedicated, that's grinding this game, that's in the competitive tournament scene, and those competitive players out there that's still playing the game. A lot of people have stopped playing this game because there's no more characters, there's nothing to get excited about, and we got our patch. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get anything else outside of that, unfortunately. So that's what I want to also mention. So we're going to close this premiere out with the roster changes that I want to discuss. The characters that y'all see on this mountain are some of the characters that I want to see make it into this game. Of course, SpongeBob just there. It's just for designer purpose, to make it look cool and look nice. But I would love to see those characters make it into the game. We got all these characters. They got all the characters in the world, from all the way from the past all the way till now to the present. Even with the new show Max and the Midnights, I've seen some of y'all talk about. Max and the Midnights could possibly end up making it into the game, but that show just came out. Rock, paper, scissors could be an ideal pick. I think Nickelodeon would love to see, and they will probably push for them to add them into the game. So let's go back into this roster to close this premiere out. I want to see these new stages. We got to get more. I don't even think that. I think this game is just going to be done as far as content, and no more. It's discontinued. I love the costumes that they made. He's the one who started it all. SpongeBob definitely gonna make it into the game. What's a Nickelodeon game without SpongeBob? A Nickelodeon crossover, by the way. But we only have 2 new shows. Let's start talking about the roster to close this premiere out. We only have 2 new shows in this entire roster that really shocked me the most. And seeing this game get leaked, I was just so surprised to see all these characters. We only got 2 of the turtles, Let's just start talking about the characters that's missing. Hugh Neutron did not make it into the game. He made it into the game, but it's in a completely different scenario and a different ball game when a character is playable instead of being an NPC. Hugh Neutron deserved better. Spent all that time trying to get that campaign together. It was successful from the first game. He didn't even make it in, but Jimmy Neutron got in, which I didn't mind, but I was hoping to have him be able to reunite and they'll both be in the game together. They can also add Cindy Vortex, who's a phenomenal fighter and who has definitely saved Jimmy Neutron from the show. She deserves to get represented as well, but she's just a perk in this game. I was hoping to see more of the characters finally get their due like the old school shows, and this show I want to just start with, just to be honest. I was so happy to see Angry Beavers because they're one of the old school shows up there with Rocko's Modern Life, from way old school, from the Nicktoons shows, the old school Nicktoons, 90s Nick. 90s Nick fan, by the way. When Angry Beavers getting into the game, I thought this would definitely open the doors for all the other old school shows and memorable characters like Rocket Power and Kablam, Henry and June, and all those other characters to be able to get in. And it's so many great shows that's missing. Even the season pass itself prior to release had me guessing that they finally went for even more characters that most of the fans wanted. Not even just myself. They got LT Gray, who I wanted to get into the game so badly. I wanted to see him get into the game. He made it. But we got to see who made it and who didn't. And quite a few characters did not make it. Quite a few characters did not make a return. Several characters got cut and did not make their return in this so-called sequel that was supposed to be bigger and better. It's supposed to be a bigger roster. It feels empty because we're missing a lot of iconic all-stars. This is Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. This is the second sequel. I don't know if we're gonna get a third game at this point. I don't know. But if we get one, it has to be bigger and better than what we have. We got 42 racers. We got 42 characters in Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. How come that game exceeds Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 when it comes to playable characters? How? That third game definitely needs to have way more if we're getting more. I thought we were going to get more characters for this game to get represented instead of being forgotten forever, and they're still lost in the shadows. We got too many it's too many of the same characters in the same shows just getting all the love and support. It's just not about SpongeBob and Avatar: The Last Airbender and TMNT. Leonardo and Mikey need to return also. We don't have Lincoln Lau. He is the main character, the main face, and the main character of his show. I haven't seen every single Lau House episode out there is, like some of you guys have. Some people had their souls ripped apart, and I don't want to say that as an exaggeration. People just didn't feel like supporting this game because of those character cuts, and seeing characters like Lincoln Lau probably stopped. Just admittedly, some of those players out there will probably admit Lincoln Lau not being into the game probably stopped them from playing the game and wanting to support. And then the final straw that really drew the line was the DLC, and seeing these characters get cut. It was just shocking to see. And Sandy being a fighter herself is still just surprising to see. Sandy's a fighter and didn't make it into the next fighting game. It's just like, those are the things that people were thinking about once they saw this roster. The roster is responsible for the sales. The roster changes in this game. You can agree or disagree. It's okay. I feel like, I already said this. The roster itself for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 is responsible for impacting the sales and allowing and convincing the players out there to want to continue to keep on playing this game. The roster itself is responsible. These roster changes really hit hard, and it affected the fans in a negative way. They didn't want to purchase the DLC, they didn't want to play the game, they even probably potentially traded it in, and they played a different fighting game. They went to play a different fighting game, they went to go play other games, because there was a lot of other games coming out that was in the mix. Because every fall season for the gaming season, it's a lot of games that come out. A lot of games come out near each other, so it was plenty of other games to play. So I feel like this roster definitely needs a bigger representation of all those other shows that we want to see. I want to see Timmy Turner. I want to see Tough Puppy and Rocket Power and all the other characters. We need all the characters back from the first game in this game. We need everybody back and all the characters to return. And what I was hoping to see for this roster is for them to have all 4 of the turtles, because I wanted to do this matchup so badly. Raphael, Donatello against Leonardo and Michelangelo for a free-for-all showdown to find out who's the strongest TMNT or who could be the next leader, things like that. It was going to be fun to do those requests on the stream, but I can't do those because Leonardo and Mikey are not in the game. To play as Leonardo and Mikey, you might as well go back and play the first game. And to reminisce some of those characters that's been cut, you can go back and play the first game to reminisce. Lincoln Lau, Hugh Neutron, Sandy, and so on and so forth. And it's just so different because this was the stopping point with Ren and Stimpy. Way before the DLC, this was the roster itself. Ren and Stimpy, this was the stopping point. Don't look at Mr. Krabs in the DLC. This was what the roster was. This was the base roster. We gotta get more new shows. There's too much of the same shows taking over the roster, and it needs to be better. This is the main reason I think most people stopped playing this game, with the exceptions of Mr. Krabs getting into the game, which was awesome to see. The DLC in general also affected people's choices because they already had paid for the DLC and they were disappointed. So I like all the characters in this game, but I want to see bigger and better from this game. There's so many great shows that deserve to be recognized in this game. It's been so long. This is a Nickelodeon crossover. They got all the shows in the world, and I just don't like how they're just limiting themselves to just SpongeBob, Avatar, and TMNT characters over and over and over again. We don't need all these characters taking up the room for the spots. They can get in later on for DLC. And I'm not saying no other SpongeBob character needs to get into the game. I want to see Bubble Bass, Larry the Lobster, who could be a strong tank. Things like that. Doodlebot could be a playable character of his own with that magic pencil. Other SpongeBob reps can get in later on. Other TMNT villains could be playable. Shredder needs to come back also and be an unlockable boss. If he comes back as a boss, at least he should be playable. Vlad Plasmius deserves to be a playable character. I thought he was going to be playable when this game first came out. That needs to be changed. Vlad Plasmius deserves to be in this game to settle the score with Danny Phantom. I thought he would be a secret unlockable. These characters need to be locked so that we can be able to earn these characters, so they're not available right off the bat, so we have something to be able to play and earn these characters, and then we can have post-launch content, a roadmap to be able to add more characters. Even if it's other shows, these additional reps, that solo rep, Vexa's not even in the game yet. I thought she would have made it in. I thought she was probably one of the DLC characters at first. Queen Vexus can be able to get Jenny to join the cluster, settle that rivalry, because she's always trying to get after her. You know what I mean? Other Loud House characters, I know some of y'all want to see more Loud House characters get into the game. They can get into the game also. It could be able to expand from there. Ultra Lord can get into the game. Cindy can get in. Hugh Neutron can finally be able to return. We could be able to have a giant roster. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 can be the ultimate game with the best roster, and it can go on and on and on, where they don't have to keep starting over, and then they can add new stages. And that's something else that I almost left out. None of the DLC characters had a stage come out with them, because it hit differently from the first game, because the first game had with Rocco, Hugh Neutron, well, it was Jenny, Hugh Neutron, and then Rocco that came out in that order. Jenny Wakeman, Hugh Neutron, and then Rocco. All three of those characters, see how they did it with that universe pack? That's what it was originally called. With that universe pack, it was done right because every character was included. Every character was from a different show in a different rep that was new, and they also had a stage that came with them as paid DLC. So you weren't just buying the character in the costume that they in the alternate costume or the skin per se. You had a stage that also was able to be represented from My Life as a Teenage Robot, Rocko's Modern World with Hardcore Chores, and then Hugh Neutron's stage, which I loved and I want to see that come back. Duck Duck Pie. All three of those characters had a stage. Mr. Krabs, Zuko, Rocksteady, and Iroh did not have a stage at all, and I wonder why they did that. And I don't know if it was because the stage and variations. Me personally, I don't care about the stage variations. I would rather have a full-fledged new stage like these to be able to get at it, so we have something new to play on instead of playing on the same stages over and over and over. This game can be something where they don't need to start over and worry about the next game and settle. That's something that has been a major thing that I just didn't like about this game. They'll stop, they'll go quiet, and they just don't say anything, and then we gotta wait till someone comes over here to give us an explanation who found out something. Because it's not from the developers themselves. That's not posting it in a public post so everybody can see what's being said and everybody can know what's going on. We gotta get better communication, and so we can be able to have a good product that's going to be successful, not even just successful when it first comes out, and be successful from its first few months from its launch period. And we don't want it to decline. We want it to be able to consistently be able to have, after players playing this game, being able to play this game online with crossplay, and they can have co-op with a story mode. It's very well done. And see, everybody starts playing for a little bit and then they get off because there's nothing else going on. Unless you're trying to get better and grind out the game in the competitive scene, there's nothing else no one else is really playing. You don't want the game looking like this. You want to have a good amount of people to be able to play with. Hit the refresh button, it's just going to be the same person. You don't want your game looking like this. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 needs to be something that's going to be able to prosper with consistent content, communication. If it's delays, things take a little bit longer. That's okay, as long as it's communicated and it's being vocal with the public, with casuals and the competitive players and community all together. The competitive players aren't the only ones that need to be finding out about everything. The players that's just been waiting for something, for new updates that cover and play the game, also want to find out what's going on so they have something to look forward to. So we're not just sitting here waiting for something to happen. We'll have news and we'll have something that we could be excited about, and we can look forward to the future, and we don't have to keep on starting over and coming out with another another one. We don't need to have that keep on happening over and over and over. You have a big game like Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 that could be the ultimate game with a lot of these characters. I love seeing this, closing this out. I love seeing this banner. When I first saw it get revealed, I was so excited to see this. Saw Squidward, Jimmy Neutron. Look at the art. It's just awesome just seeing this. They put a lot of love in this game. It deserved more love and support, but it's only gonna get so much now because it's nothing new happening outside of those tournaments. That for those that are competitive players, there's nothing else going on. There's no content. Without content, new characters and communication, it's just gonna fall and it's just gonna sink. And then players move on. They start talking about a different game. They start playing another game, and then with your circle from the group that they play with, when they see their friends playing a different game, this is what I want to say. When they see their friends playing a different game and playing a different fighting game, even if it's not a fighting game, when they see them playing a different multiplayer game that a lot of people are talking about and playing, they start playing that game and checking it out, and that's how the game loses its momentum, because they're going to be more influenced and encouraged to play a different game that's going to get active support, content, new characters, and things that they can be able to look forward to instead of just being limited That's what I want to see out of the next game, where there's no limitations, where we can have a game with a lot of characters. So even if Timmy isn't base roster, he could be a surprise DLC character that could be teased and probably get shown off. Remember that trailer that they showed, how Jimmy Neutron got in and Squidward? That trailer was well done with the reveal trailer. Just kicking it back for some final thoughts. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 trailer reveal, it was a nice surprise. Jimmy Neutron, Squidward, Plankton, and so much more, and seeing the other turtles get into the game. Squidward looking out his window, wishing to join the fun. He joined the battle. Vlad Plasmius needs to be one of those characters. Timmy Turner needs to be one of those characters. If it's not him, Hazel Wells can be more than good enough, because at least it won't be all those different hurdles that they have to jump over or jump through to settle negotiations, get the rights and things like that. This can be the best game it can be, and it can go on and on and on, because they have a lot of characters, they have a lot of shows that they can add in this game, and all different unique characters that can be able to keep the players engaged. And when you engage with the community, they'll keep on playing, and you talk to them and you tell them what's going on. Even if you don't have the update ready, if a patch is taking longer or a character is going to be delayed, at least they'll know what's going on, instead of playing this mystery game and trying to figure out and guess when they're going to come out, you know? So let me know what you guys want to see for All-Star Brawl 3 if it happens. Just to close this out, I do not see Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 coming out this year. It might get announced, but I don't see it coming out this year. I don't think it is going to be a third game releasing this year, but it might get announced. That's the only slight chance I see an announcement. It could be a different crossover. It could be a different game. We'll never know. We already got that new SpongeBob game already set in tone from THQ. That's going to be great. Also, I'm excited for it. But I'm not sure if we're going to get another crossover like All-Star Brawl 3. If it does happen, it needs to be so much better than what we have, with a bigger roster, with all the deserving characters that people want to see, and more content with a season pass and several significant updates, and being able to make sure the characters stay balanced, the quality of life fixes and things like that, and an active communication with an active Twitter page that's not just going to be silent for months on end.